What's up? What's up? What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Happy. Ooh, what's today? Wednesday, Tuesday. What's today? Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Yeah, today's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day to everybody. How are you guys doing? So listen, if you haven't been getting the notifications, today is a busy day. Okay, so we are doing this live today, dealing with Russell Simmons as a follow up to the live we did on Monday about Russell Simmons. I'll be back at 2:00 with Girl Is That Legal to discuss Jocelyn Hernandez and what really happened the night of her arrest. There's a lot of information that is not being released to the press, but we got it here because Girl Is That Legal went and pulled up the police report, which tells a story that you guys probably don't know, okay? And then later on tonight, thank you, Nico Rich. It's a lip liner with a lip gloss. With this lip gloss, it's a Fenty, and then I just have a lip liner. I didn't mean to make the lip liner this heavy, but it is what it is. Later on tonight, around 10:00 ish, I will be discussing Simone and Rashid's breakup. You guys probably, for those of you that follow Ready to Love and all that good stuff, you know that they broke up. There was a video done, yada 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 yada. So I had not spoken on it, and I will explain all of that later on tonight. We'll go live and we'll talk about it. I did talk to Simone. Simone gave me her side of the story, and so we're going to talk about it all. So it's a busy day. I'm back. I'm off summer. I'm on summer break, so you guys are going to be seeing a lot more of me. I'm going to try to put out a lot more content. So, but let's get into Russell Simmons. That's why we're here right now. I have no idea whether the Remy Papoose thing is true. I honestly have not looked into it more than, I don't know anything about it. I honestly don't know. My opinion is I don't think so, but you never know what people really got going on in their personal life. But I don't know. That's Nicole. Kelly. I don't know nothing about it. Okay. So yes, I have my producer on it. Tracy is my producer, and she is on the case. So when I know more about the Remy Ma Papoose situation, y'all know I'm going to give it to y'all. So, let's talk about this Russell Simmons situation. Now, for those of you who don't know, or you haven't been paying attention, or you just don't care, there was a whole meltdown on social media Monday as it relates to Russell Simmons, his ex-wife Kimora Lee Simmons, and his daughter Aoki. Now, Ming Lee, what I think is funny, thanks, Ebs, is that Ming Lee set the whole thing off, but we ain't really heard from her. Or if we have heard from her, I haven't heard. I didn't go to her page to check before I went live. But she set the whole thing off by posting a Father's Day, a happy Father's Day wish to her mother, which obviously pissed Russell Simmons off, which led to the debacle we saw on Monday. Now, as I was doing my live on Monday, a lot of things came up about how we got here as far as Russell accusing Kimora Lee of stealing his money, or Kimora Lee and her ex-husband. I put husband in quotation marks because they were never legally married. Why were they never legally married? Because he was already married to somebody else. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But I will be referring to him as her husband for the sake of continuity, but please know as a footnote, they were never legally married because it came out during his court proceedings that he was already married to a whole nother person in a whole nother country, so their marriage was never legal. Okay. But again, for the sake of continuity, it's just easier for me to say her husband or Tim Lesnar as we go through this information. Okay. But we have to kind of go back a little bit further. So I'm going to read you guys an article from Rolling Stone, which I believe we went over before. Abby sent it to me again, but as I was reading it, I feel like we went through this article once before. But this article, it goes through and it chronicles the accusations against Russell Simmons, which a lot of you guys asked me about. Now, a lot of people keep saying, oh, he went to Bali to avoid this, he went to Bali to avoid that. At the end of the day, he comes back to the United States on a regular basis. So is he, quote unquote, hiding? No, not really. Did he leave the United States probably to avoid the press and avoid things getting worse, maybe to avoid some things. Absolutely. I mean, maybe. But at the end of the day, he's here enough that if somebody really want to get him, they can get him. I mean, we know that, Anyway, I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. So let me read you guys the Rolling. Now this is coming from Rolling Stone. It's from 2008, and it is it chronicles the accusations. Now y'all know this is YouTube, and y'all know YouTube does not like certain words, so I have to be careful in how I read this article. Usually I put it up on the screen, but again, because it may have certain language or words, I'm just going to read the article to you guys. I'm not going to put the article on the screen. However, I will put the link in the chat, and you feel free to go and research it and read up on it on yourself. Read up on it for yourself. For the purposes of this video, I am also saying, before we get into anything, everything in this video is alleged. Okay? Russell Simmons has never been brought to court. There's never been any formal charges, and he certainly has never been convicted of anything. It is all alleged. Also, when I get into the court proceedings as it relates to what he's accusing Kimora of as far as stealing his money, it is all alleged. Nothing has been resolved. No one, okay. With that being said, let's get into the article. As you come in, please hit the like button. It is free 99. So let's get into it again. Like I said, I will drop the link in the chat. So feel free to. What's this? What? I'm sorry. I just got like this invoice from. Okay, I shouldn't even open that up because I don't know what that is. Okay. Somebody just sent me an invoice from the Geek Squad. I have never, ever used the Geek Squad. I don't even know who that is. But I didn't click a link or nothing, y'all. Don't worry about it. I didn't click any links or anything. All right. Let me copy the address so I can put this. I'm going to put this in the chat again so that you guys can feel free. It's an older article. You may have already read it or seen it before. But we're going to go through it. Okay. Cassandra says several women want to press charges, so I believe he's hiding out. He may very well be. Like I said, he may very well be. I'm going to just leave it at that. Okay, so let's get into it. Hey, little baby. Hey, everybody coming in. If I did not speak, hey. I think I did just kind of start talking. So, hey, everybody coming in. Special shout out to my mods. And a special shout out to my members who are lit up in green. Yeah, Khadijah. That's why I was like, I didn't click on anything. I didn't click on any links or anything like that. So, matter of fact, let me delete this email right now. I'm gonna just delete it while we're sitting here. Yeah, because I never use the Geek Squad. I have never, ever in my life. And even if I use the Geek Squad, it wouldn't be no invoices would come to this email. This is an email that I would use for business. For use for that. Anyway, moving on. So this is coming from Rolling Stone. This article is dated February 9th of 2019. Okay. Trying to get me to buy Rolling Stone. Okay, hold on. All these pop-ups. All right, let me get them off my screen. Okay. So since November of 2017, hip-hop icon and business mogul Russell Simmons has been accused of more than a dozen cases of SA or misconduct. Simmons has responded by admitting inappropriate conduct in some instances, apologizing for the instances of thoughtlessness in my relationships with women, stepping away from his business interests, and converting his studio for yoga science into a nonprofit center for learning and healing. But at the same time, he has disputed the allegations of non-consensual sexual interactions. I vehemently deny all of these accusations, he told the New York Times after the paper published the accounts of 4 women, 3 of whom alleged that they were raped by Simmons. These horrific accusations have shook me to my core, and all of my relations have been consensual. Simmons also denied all the allegations against him to Rolling Stone. Okay. On January the 24th, Jennifer Jarosky was the latest woman to accuse Simmons of R. She filed a suit against him asking for $5 million in damages. In light of the latest accusation, there is a timeline that, based on the past few months of allegations, chronically shows when said incidents would have taken place in the course of his long career. Okay? So then the article talks about how he became the face of hip hop, him starting his record label. Now, so that was in the early 1980s is when he started Def Jam Records. All right. Now, the first accusation, according to this timeline in the article, was in 1983. Simmons allegedly y'all know what the word R means. I'm not going to keep spelling it out again. Y'all know the R word. Sherry Hines. Sherry Hines was a member of the rap group Mercedes Ladies. So she had met Simmons as a fellow participant in the hip-hop scene. In a December interview, the Los Angeles Times, she alleged that she ran into Simmons at a club where he invited her to visit his nearby office. When she stopped by, she said he pinned her down and he R'd her. She later used the alleged incident as the basis for a scene in her 2008 novel, Mercedes Ladies. I felt embarrassed. I felt used and worthless. Hines told Megyn Kelly, the way I felt at the time was, I can't believe this man just violated me like I was nothing. So she wrote a novel called Mercedes Ladies, and she said that there's a scene in that novel that is pretty much what happened to her with Russell Simmons, allegedly. In 1984, Simmons joins Rick Rubin to create the pioneering hip-hop label Def Jam. Simmons then was 27, and he joined with 21-year-old NYU student Rick Rubin on an independent label named Def Jam. Okay, all right. They just talking about Def Jam Records. Okay, that was in 1984. 1988, Def Jam is doing really well. Okay. In 1988 through 1989, Russell Simmons allegedly assaults both Lisa Kirk and Tony Sally. And again, you guys, I'm saying alleged, not because I do or don't believe, but I have to. No one has been convicted, okay? In a December interview with the Los Angeles Times, Lisa Kirk alleged that Simmons followed her into a nightclub bathroom in 1988 and attempted to assault her. I smashed into the wall, Kirk said. It tore my clothes. She had previously dated one of Simmons' friends, but she was scared to tell him about the alleged incident. Instead, she hoped to make it go away to keep on trucking. The same month that Kirk came forward, Tony Sally, a journalist who knew Simmons through her work for the magazine Black Radio Exclusive, alleged that Simmons assaulted or acted inappropriately towards her twice during this period. In 1988, Simmons allegedly invited her over to his apartment under the pretense that he was throwing a party and then sexually assaulted her. He pushed me on the bed and jumped on top of me and physically attacked me. She claimed, adding that she believed it was R. Sally also alleged that Simmons followed her into a woman's bathroom at a music conference the following year. When she was an employee at Warner Brothers, she managed to escape the room, she says, where she barricaded the door. All right. In 1991, Simmons allegedly assaulted 4 women. In a November interview published in the Los Angeles Times, the model Carrie Clausen, Kaylee, I'm assuming I'm going to just say it, Kaylee, alleged that Simmons coerced her into performing oral sex on him at his apartment when she was 17. While director Brett Ratner watched. Okay, you're bringing Brett Ratner into this too. Okay. In a guest column published in November in the Hollywood Reporter, screenwriter Jenny Lumet alleged that Simmons R'd her in his apartment, also in 1991. Then in December of last year, another woman who wished to remain anonymous alleged that Simmons assaulted her at his apartment during 1991. She met with the NYPD to provide information about the alleged incident. Like Hines, Tina B was an aspiring artist. She sang background vocals on records by Madonna and Bruce Springsteen. She met Simmons in a nightclub in late 1990 or early 1991. Last December, she told the New York Times he invited her back to his apartment to discuss her career. Once she arrived at his apartment, it got really ugly pretty fast, alleging that Simmons overpowered her and assaulted her. Okay. All right, in 1994, Simmons and Brett Ratner, there's that name again, Brett Ratner, allegedly harassed aspiring model Tanya Reid. In a November interview, the Los Angeles Times, Reid alleged that she encountered Simmons and Ratner at a hotel in Miami where she worked, and they proceeded to call her and verbally harass her. I remember this very, very clearly. The exact words Simmons said on the phone. She recalled she wanted me to come upstairs he wanted me, to come upstairs so Brett could hold me down and he could perform oral sex. She alleges that Ratner later coerced her into performing oral sex on him. Oh Lord, I'm reading the article, so if you're putting comments in the chat, I'll see them in a moment. Give me a minute, but I'm just going through the article first, okay? In 1994 through 1995, Simmons allegedly sexually harasses and R's Drew Dixon. Simmons hired Drew Dixon as an A&R in 1994. In the following year, she was tasked with putting together the soundtrack for The Show, a new hip-hop documentary. The soundtrack debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 album charts and spawned the Method Man Redman hit How High. Dixon remembers that Simmons offered her a small raise and a promotion as stakes. I just felt used, demoralized, she told the author. I'm just going to say the author. Okay. In December, Dixon alleged that Simmons, December of this year, the year the article was written out. Simmons also repeatedly sexually harassed her at work. Fighting his explicit advances was exhausting, she said. It was like making a record while swimming in rough seas. She also alleged that Simmons overpowered her and R her at his apartment in 1995. The last thing I remember was him pinning me down to kiss me on the bed, she said. And it says she told the Times that she does not believe that she was drugged, but that she had blocked out the experience. Oh, okay. Lord, it keeps going. Good God. Okay. In 1996, Simmons allegedly tries to coerce Natasha Williams Block into performing oral sex on him. In a December interview, the Los Angeles Times actress Natasha Williams Block alleged that Simmons attempted to force her to perform oral on him after the two attended a yoga class together. Then, a freshman at UCLA, she had to escape the situation. She informed Simmons that she had to attend a study hall. Okay. All right, in 2005, he allegedly exposed himself to a massage therapist. Okay. In 2014, he allegedly groped Christina Moore. In 2016, he allegedly makes inappropriate comments to Amanda Seales and allegedly R's Jennifer Jarowski. All right. In a December interview with the Los Angeles Times, Amanda Seales, known for her role on HBO's Insecure, alleged that Simmons made inappropriate comments to her during what was supposed to be a business meeting. Seales accused him of using vulgar language to ask if they ever had sex. In January, aspiring filmmaker Jennifer Jarowski alleged that Simmons asked her to meet him at his LA home in 2016 to discuss her career. She alleges that he pounced on her and proceeded to R her. She is suing him for $5 million. Okay. In 2017, Simmons stepped down from his businesses. In 2018, Oprah removed him from quotes and from her invite. That's not funny. I'm sorry. Oprah said, I'm not doing this with you, Russell. In 2018, Jarowski drops her $5 million lawsuit against Simmons. Simmons responds to Jarowski's suit filed in January by arguing that the encounter was consensual. Weeks later, Jarowski changed tack and filed a joint stipulation of dismissal along with Simmons. Mr. Simmons is hereby dismissed with prejudice from this action in its entirety, including all claims asserted by Ms. Jarowski. In the operative complaint, the document read, the attorney for Jarowski did not reply to a request for this comment. Sound like they came to some sort of settlement agreement. Okay. So let me read you guys Russell Simmons' official statement at the time of this article, and then I'm gonna come back to the chat. It's sort of long, so give me a second. I vehemently denied all accusations made against me. They have shocked me to my core, as I have never been abusive or violent in any way in my relations with women. I am blessed to have shared extraordinary relationships, whether through work or love, with many great women, and I have enormous respect for the women's movement worldwide and their struggle for respect, dignity, equality, and power. I'm devastated by any reason I may have given to anyone to say or think of me in the ways that are currently being described. I have separated myself from my businesses and charities in order to not become a distraction. I have rededicated myself to spiritual learning, healing, and working on behalf of the communities in which I have devoted my life. I have accepted that I can and should get dirt on my sleeves if it means witnessing the birth of a new consciousness about women. What I cannot accept is responsibility for what I have not done. The current allegations range from patently untrue to frivolous and hurtful. I have submitted myself to multiple lie detector tests. I have denied forced sex and sexual harassment allegations brought against me in each test. I have answered no to the question, have you ever physically forced any woman to have sexual intercourse? I passed all of the lie detector tests. I've also provided a great deal of detailed evidence to various publications, but I have chosen not to make it public, in part for my family and in part out of respect for the millions of women who have suffered sexual abuse, as to not entangle a critically important social justice movement with every instance of my legitimate right to defend myself. Nevertheless, the presumption of innocence until proven guilty must not be replaced by guilt by association. I have conducted my life with a message of peace and love. Although I have been candid about how I have lived in books and interviews detailing my flaws, I will relentlessly fight against any untruthful character assassination that points me as a man of violence. So that is the Rolling Stone article. Again, the link is in the chat. All right, I'm back in the chat. So let me go through. Let me look at a couple of you guys' comments. Okay. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you, Miss JRD. We made it to a live. Hey, YBS Mary. Hey, everybody. Hey. Mark Irvin. Yes. Welcome. I'm glad you guys caught the live. So that is the article in Rolling Stone. So I wanted to just give you guys that. This daggone camera. Oh, it gets on my nerves. I changed some stuff on it. I changed the definition on it, thinking that was part of the problem, but clearly not. I don't know why it keeps blurring up like that. It's like the smallest thing will make it readjust itself, and it's frustrating. All right. Okay. And again, Russell Simmons has not been convicted, arrested of any, or charged with anything. So everything is alleged. And again, whether I personally believe or not believe it, that's another conversation. But I'm giving you the facts. You do with them what you may. Y'all know. Yeah, I'm going to just leave it there. So there's that. Now, some people say that after all of this happened, that's when he went to Bali, that he ran away. He's in hiding. He's trying to avoid charges. Somebody in the chat earlier, I think Courtney, said that there are women who are actively looking for him to serve him. I believe that. I believe that there are women who are looking to serve him. I believe that. But I think the misconception is that he just lives in Bali and he never comes back to the United States. So I just want to be clear that that's not the case. He does travel back and forth. Now, does he live in Bali? Yes, from my understanding. But he does still come back. It's not like he's been in Bali for the last 4 years and he's just never been back in the United States. So that's not true. He does. Matter of fact, Aoki even said that last Father's Day, that he was in the States with them and spent last Father's Day with them. So we know that he goes back and forth. That does not mean that he's avoiding issues here in the United States. I just want to clear that up. Okay. What's up, princess? Hey, boo. Now, let's get into these accusations, okay? Now, we have talked about these accusations a little bit before, and I still want to pull the lawsuit so that I can actually go through what's in the lawsuit myself. But what I did, but I have not been able to do that up until this time. But what I did, didn't he get married in Bali? I don't know nothing about. I didn't read anything about that. That doesn't mean he didn't. I didn't read anything about it, so I don't know. I don't know. He didn't attend either one of his kids' graduations, ducking being served. He spent Father's Day with him last year, so I don't know. I mean, from the way Aoki was talking, it sounded like he might not even been invited to her graduation. I mean, you know, their relationship is off and on, and she blocks him on social media, then she unblocks him, and then he does something, so then she blocks him again. He may not have been invited. I don't know. You know. But anyway, so let's get into it. Let's get into this lawsuit. And the reason why, and here's the thing, you guys. I'm going by information I found online. I found a couple of videos. I shared a video with you guys yesterday on my please, he's avoiding being locked up. Again, y'all, listen, y'all feel the way y'all feel. That's fine. That's great. I don't know. I doubt. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Y'all feel how y'all feel. That's great. So, who in their right mind doesn't attend a Harvard graduation? Somebody that's not invited. Like, I don't. If he wasn't invited. I don't know. Anyway, y'all need to hit on there. I mean, I think it's messed up that a father would miss his children's graduation, certainly. And again, he may very well be doing that. He may absolutely be hiding from being serviced. We know people do that all the time. So neither here nor there. I'm trying to be. I have my opinions. But I'm trying to give you guys all of the information. Okay, but I definitely have my opinions. Okay, and I'm gonna just. Kimora said he was invited. Okay, I have my opinions. Okay, so let me just share this out because somebody said they didn't get the notification. Let me put it on the Let me put this on my community wall. Let everybody know that we're here, and then I'm gonna get into my notes. And I shared a video from Chronicle Speaks where she went through the legal documents and she did a really good job of breaking it down. I also read a couple of other articles that broke down what's going on. So I'm gonna give it to you guys to the best of my understanding. Y'all know I'm not a lawyer and I'm certainly not a stockbroker. So I'm breaking it down to the best of my understanding. And it may surprise you guys once we go through the facts as Russell understands them. That doesn't mean that these facts are true, but it means that this is what him and his lawyer have alleged. Him and his lawyer have alleged. That doesn't mean they're true because the case has not been resolved. All right. I know you want to be fair before rendering an opinion. I ain't giving an opinion because y'all ain't gonna like my opinion, so I ain't giving no opinion. I'm just gonna put it like that. Well, no, I shouldn't say y'all not gonna like my opinion because y'all know I believe where there's smoke, there's fire. So I shouldn't say y'all not gonna believe my opinion. So we can't act like men with money don't do things like this, and it's not implausible for the Harvey Weinstein News and Plus Kimora lawsuit was after the allegations. I'm not saying he didn't do it. I'm not saying none of that. I am not saying that Russell Simmons is not guilty. Y'all ain't hear me say that. Y'all never heard me say that. I just have my opinions about certain things. Now, I do believe where there's smoke, there's fire. Y'all know I said that about Bill Cosby. I said that about a lot of people when there are multiple allegations over time and where some of the MO is the same. When you hear these women's stories, the whole coming into the women's bathroom, he did that a lot, it sounds like. That sounds like that might be one of his MOs. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like what? See, y'all just gonna make me say stuff I don't want to say. I'm just saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Hey, Xavier. Hey, boo. Absolutely. Two things, and y'all know I say that all the time. Two things can be true at the same time. Y'all know I say that all the time. All right, so let's get into it, you guys. So these are the notes as I understand them. Again, I am no stockbroker, and I'm certainly no attorney. This is based on the legal documents that were filed by Russell Simmons' attorney. So that does not mean that this is what happened. That does not mean that this is accurate. That means that this is the lawsuit as Russell Simmons alleges. There are two sides to every story. The case has not completed litigation, so we still don't have all of the both sides of the story. So I want to be very clear. But what I want to say, well, let me go through the notes and then I'm gonna get to that. Okay. I'm saying he was not invited to the graduation. Kimora said he could see the schedule online and they wouldn't have stopped him. How is that an invite? See, I'm just saying. There's a difference between being able to show up and being invited. That's two different things. Moving on. I'm just going to move on. I'll let y'all debate it in the chat while I go through my notes. Okay. Now, Kimora Simmons and Russell Simmons were married in 1998. They had two children, Ming and Aoki. They were divorced in 2009. So they were married about 11 years, give or take. Throughout their marriage, before their marriage, and after their marriage, they have engaged in multiple businesses. That is important to understand because I know people are going to be like, why would he do this? They were divorced. Why would he go into business? Why would he trust her? Why would he invest? They have had multiple businesses throughout their relationship prior to them being married, the entire time that they were married, and after the marriage. Okay, so there's that. Russell Simmons created a business called New Horizon. Now, I read in an article where New Horizon was a nonprofit. Not quite sure the whole in my Really Be voice. Let's call a thing a thing. Thank you for the super chat, boo. Thank you, kid. Yeah, we're gonna call. Listen, we call a thing now. Okay. Russell Simmons started that business in. I didn't write the year down, but he started the business prior to 2013. Now, in 2013, Kimora Simmons, and I'm going to say in quotes, in air quotes, married Tim Lesnar. Again, if you were late coming in, they were not legally married because it came out during Tim's court case that this man was legally married to a whole nother woman. So him and Kimora's marriage was never legal under U.S. law. Okay? But in 2013, they got married. Now, for the purposes of this conversation, I'm just going to keep saying husband or Tim because it's easier than to keep saying fake husband and all that. But y'all know what I'm saying. They were never legally married. If you're catching this in the replay, they were never legally married. Okay. That was in 2013. He was an investment banker at Goldman Sachs. That is also important to understand because the other day somebody was arguing, well, not arguing with me because y'all don't argue with me. Y'all just talk back to me. But somebody was saying how there's certain things you can't legally do with stock and this, and this. And I'm like, but he's a stockbroker. So, well, investment banker. So, they, people know. And he's also a convicted felon for stealing money and doing illegal things per his investment banking job. So, it's not a stretch to say he did some illegal stuff. Let's just say that. Okay. Tim and Russell became friends because Kimora and Russell were cool. Even after their divorce, like I said, they still did business together. They were still cool, whatever. So they all became one big happy family, co-parenting and all that great stuff. In 2014, Russell Simmons wanted to invest in this water company called Celsius Holdings. It's an energy drink. I'm sorry, not a water company. It was an energy drink that a lot of celebrities were endorsing, and they wanted Russell to come on, not just as an investor, but also as somebody as a celebrity endorsement. He did that. Okay, in 2015, he became he became an investor and also a celebrity endorser of that. Now, in April 20th of 2015, Russell Simmons became part of a group there, and they made a common stock purchase. Again, I'm not a stockbroker. Don't ask me to break down these definitions. You're going to have to go to the Google machine. But a common stock purchase is a group of people come together and they buy a bulk lump sum of the stock. He purchased $3 million worth of stock. Yeah, Flo Rida, I think, got a settlement from Associates Water as well. Okay. Now we're pretending parents don't need invites to attend graduations. I'm exhausted. Yeah, they do. If there's a graduation that has limited invitations, they absolutely do, P. At the school that I work at, we only give out a certain number of invitations. If you don't get an invitation, we don't care if you gave birth to that child. You ain't getting in. Now, I don't know how they do things up at the Harvard, but there may be a specific area for invitees, and it may not be open to the public. Just because it's Harvard University doesn't mean anybody can walk off the street and attend the graduation. That's just not how it works. Now, I am not saying that Russell wasn't invited. I don't know. Kimora said one thing, Russell said one thing, the kids say one thing. None of us know. We know what somebody's telling us. But what I'm telling you as an educator who has been doing it for 25 years, no, you cannot. And it doesn't matter if you're the parent. It don't matter if you're the grandmama, the uncle, the aunt, the auntie. It doesn't. You could be Obama. If you don't have an invitation, you're not getting in. Now, I'm just telling you what I know. Now, I don't know about Harvard. I know, in general, you need an invitation. Now, there may be an area that is set aside for people, like a VIP area that's set aside for people who have invitations. And then there's a general seating area if you want to just show up. Yeah, the bigger universities have those situations. Like when I went to my cousin's graduation at Hampton, yeah, but the parents sat in a certain area who had invitations. There is an area set aside for invitations. And then there's a general area. So again, could he have shown up? I'm sure he could have shown up. Would he have been able to get a seat? Maybe not. But again, none of us know. We know what people are telling us. We don't know what happened. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not saying that I'm on Russell Simmons' side, because I think Russell Simmons is a jerk. And I've thought Russell Simmons is a jerk for a very long time. Let's be clear about that. Okay? All I'm saying is, you can't just assume that everybody's telling the truth, because everybody ain't telling the truth. Somebody got to be lying. That's all I'm saying. Somebody got to be lying. Moving on. I love y'all, though. I do. Now, in April 20th of 2015, Russell Simmons, and this is important, y'all. This is important. Russell Simmons purchased $3 million worth of stock, which equated to 3,370 shares. 3,370,787 shares of Celsius Holdings. Here's where this gets tricky. The $3 million that was used to purchase the stock was wired through Tim Lessner. And that's important when we get to the end of this. The $3 million was wired through Tim Lessner. That's important. That does not mean that Russell Simmons didn't have the $3 million. That doesn't mean that Russell Simmons didn't give Tim Lessner the $3 million. But because he was handling the stock purchase in his role as an investment banker, the money came from Tim Lessner through Goldman Sachs. Y'all, I need y'all, that's important, because I had to listen to this video about 3-4 times. Right, I can't go to my own nephew's graduation today. He graduating today at 2 o'clock, and I can't go because they only got 2 tickets. My sister and her husband going. I can't even go to the graduation. Okay? Anyway. Okay. All right. 150,000 more. He purchased 150,000 more shares. And after 2 years, the stock was soaring. The stock was doing really, really well. Okay. Now, here's where it gets a little blurry. Here's where it gets a little blurry. So, in 2016, there was an operating agreement that was drawn up between Tim Lessner and Russell Simmons as it relates to New Horizons. Now, remember, Russell Simmons started New Horizons, but somewhere along the line, Tim Lessner became his partner, right? Tim Lessner became his partner. In the operating agreement, Tim Lessner controls 51% of the shares. Now, I don't know if there was a money issue, if Russell needed to borrow money. I don't know why this happened, but I'm just telling you what happened. Allegedly. All of this is alleged. Under this operating agreement, Tim Lessner had 51% of the stock, of control of the company. Not stock, but control of the company. Russell had 49% control of the company, but he owned all of the assets. So he was 100% owner of all of the assets, but had 49 control. Kimora was a member of the board for New Horizons, and she was like the control of the board for New Horizons. So Tim owned 51% of the shares. I mean, of the company. Kimora was the head of the board for the company. Russell owned 49%. And all of the assets. That's not what happened, Omni. That's not what happened. See, that's what I'm saying. Y'all listen. I need y'all to listen to the story. Again, this is allegedly. Well, I can't say that's not what happened. I'm going to say this is allegedly. Okay. Now, when they filed the paperwork to the SEC, it showed that Tim and Russell were both beneficiaries, and they shared equal voting power in New Horizons. So even though Tim had the 2% majority, they were equal partners as it related to, hey, Monk Chip, my love. Okay. Now, in 2017, they made another purchase of New Horizons. New Horizon made another purchase of Celsius stock to the tune of $433,333 or $333. This brought them to a total of, right, that's what I'm saying. This is all allegedly. This is according to Russell's lawsuit. So that's why I took back what I said. I ain't saying it's true or not. This is according to the lawsuit. Because I need y'all to, and the reason why I'm going through this, you guys, it doesn't make this true, but I think it'll explain why Russell is upset. I'm not defending anything as it relates to the allegations. Now we are just talking about why he's mad. And when I get to the end of this, I'm going to give y'all my opinion on this case. I'm not giving y'all my opinion on the other stuff. I'll give y'all my opinion on this case. Okay. So, by the end of 2017, New Horizon owns a total of 3,973,000 shares of Celsius stock. Okay? 3,973,000 shares of Celsius stock by the end of 2008. By the end of 2017. Now, by 2018, Tim and Kimora are under investigation by the SEC and by the federal government for all the stuff that they think that Tim is doing wrong. Tim has 2 co-defendants who have already been indicted by this time. And according to the court documents, They feel the feds on their back. According to the court documents, they feel the feds on their back. Now, allegedly, this is when Tim and Kimora started trying to hide assets. This is according to the court documents. So what they then did was, allegedly, they wanted Russell to sell his interest in New Horizons, which would include all of this Celsius stock. They drew up a letter of intent, which was that the letter of intent was that he intended to sell his 49% ownership of the company, all the stock, whatever. He was going to sell it to Tim and Kimora for $14 million. That was the letter of intent. A letter of intent is just that. You intend to do this. What happened was, thank you, Chanel. Thank you so much. What happened was, while this letter of intent, I guess while Russell Simmons was getting his attorneys to go over it, or he was making a decision about what he wanted to do, allegedly, Tim Lessner and Kimora sold the company anyway. Allegedly, while Russell was deciding about whether he was going to sell his percentage, they went behind his back and just sold the whole damn company. Allegedly, they sold the company to Kimora's. Kimora's company was called Keyway Pride LLC. Allegedly, they sold the whole company to Kimora's company, and in return, Kimora sold that to a company in Qatar. Y'all following? This is where it gets tricky. And then from there, allegedly, the company in Qatar put the proceeds from the sale in accounts in Switzerland. Now, y'all know that Switzerland is the place where rich people go to hide their money. Okay? Now, allegedly, this was all a scheme for them to be able to hide the assets, that the company in Qatar was really like a cover for them. It was a way for them to sell their assets, send it to the company in Qatar, and Qatar deposited those funds into accounts in Switzerland, which then Kimora and her husband have access to. Now, allegedly, they did this with multiple assets, not just this company, but they did this with multiple assets, right? In an alleged way to defraud and hide the assets. So this is what the court documents are alleged. In the meantime, Russell, he agreed to sell, not knowing that the company had already been sold to Qatar. He agreed to sell his 49% for the $14 million. He never got his $14 million. That's important to remember. He never got his $14 million. Had he got his $14 million, allegedly, according to Russell, honestly, this would be nullified. This would be a nullified deal had he got his $14 million. But he didn't. He never got his $14 million, allegedly. Child, let me make sure I'm getting it right. Okay, all right. Told y'all, now listen, I worked hard to get this information for y'all. Okay? Okay, sold the money, they sold personal assets. Okay. So in 2018, that is when Russell signed the stock transfer agreement, but he never got the $14 million. So in 2018, Russell was like, cool, I'll sell it, but he never got the money. Allegedly, never got his $14 million. Now, in June of 2018, Tim was arrested. Here, y'all, let me get it. I need to take a sip on this one because it gets real tricky. It gets real tricky. Y'all, I worked hard for this. Whew. Okay. Tim was arrested. Kimora was trying to get him out on bond. So, per the bond agreement, Kimora told the government, hey, we've got this stock over here that's worth millions of dollars. We'll sell the stock, and that's the money that we'll use to bond Tim out of jail. The government said, okay. So, Kimora allegedly transferred or sold the stock through her JP Morgan account, this Celsius stock through her JP Morgan account, stock that she had already sold to the company in Qatar, to get him out of jail. And it worked temporarily. It temporarily worked because Tim got out on bond until the government, upon further inspection, realized that the sale of the stock was fraudulent because they never owned the stock, because they never paid Russell his $14 million, which nullified the deal. So that's why I said, had they paid Russell his $14 million the year before, all of this would have been voided. Now, again, this is based on the paperwork. That doesn't mean this is what happened. This is Russell Simmons' attorney and him version of the story. So allegedly, she fraudulently used the sale of this stock to show that they had the money, legit money, because that's about to be important in a second, legit money, to bail him out of jail based on sale of stock in a company that she no longer owned, based on a sale that Uncle Russ, so you got me saying Uncle Russ, he ain't my uncle, that Russell Simmons never got paid for. Okay? So that's the $14 million that allegedly he never got paid to sell New Horizons. It gets deeper, y'all. I ain't done. You would think I'm done, right? But I'm not. I'm almost done, but I'm not done. So in Russell's mind, because the government is now saying, look, that sale is nullified. You never paid him his $14 million, which means that he still owns 49% of this company that you have sold to Qatar, a company in Qatar. He said, but a company in Qatar. It's called, the name of the company is OXY. Hold on, I wrote it down. OXY something. The company is called OXY something. Hold on. ORXY Investments. That's the name of the company in Qatar. So according to, he still owns 49%, allegedly, of this New Horizon company. Here's where we get to the $200 and something million. Okay? The stock in Celsius Water is now worth $104 a share. Now you do the math. He owns almost 4 million shares, allegedly. The company, well, not allegedly, the company does own almost 400 million shares of stock. If you sell it for $100 a share, what do you come up with? You do the math. It's $344 million. 49% of $344 million is a lot of damn money. Now, here's the bigger issue. The government is holding all that shit. You know why the government is holding all of it? Because the government believes that the original, go back to remember I told y'all, remember that $3 million at the beginning? Remember I told y'all that $3 million at the beginning? Because the government believes that that original $3 million investment, the government believes that original $3 million investment originally came from fraudulent sources. And so the government is holding all that shit. So Russell's thing is, I don't care about y'all holding on to all that other shit, but can you release my money? Can you release the 49% interest that I have in New Horizons so I can sell this damn stock before the stock becomes not worth nothing? So when he says, now, first of all, I don't believe he's broke. I don't believe Russell Simmons is broke. I do believe that this is a lot of money, but I don't believe that Russell Simmons is broke. So let me just throw that to the side. So let me say this. When I say you, y'all know I don't mean y'all personally. I just mean in general. You don't have to believe Russell Simmons' version of the story because Kimora is saying it's all a lie. Kimora saying that didn't happen. It's a lie. It ain't true. But if you believe, not if you believe, but now you see why Russell is upset because he believes it. Y'all understand what I'm saying? That don't mean it's true. That doesn't mean that's what happened. He believes it. He truly believes that this is what happened to his money. And he believes that the government is holding on to hundreds of millions of dollars of his money based on them trying to scam him. That doesn't mean that this is what happened. That means that this is what he believes. So when he says that Kimora sold my stock to get her husband out of jail, that part is documented. It's documented that she used the Celsius stock to get her husband out on bond. That's documented. The question is, was it still his stock or not? If he never got the money from the sale of the company, then the sale is void. The sale is fraudulent. If he never got the money, the sale is void. Right? So again, I'm not saying that this man is a good person. I'm not saying that he's not in hiding in Bali to try to avoid. I ain't getting into none of that. I gave y'all the background so y'all would understand what the allegations were. But as far as this is why he's upset. So when he says your mother stole money from me, when he says that they stole my money, when he talks about all that, again, I still don't think he's right for bringing the kids into it. I still don't think he's right. But if he truly believes this, y'all, so he's angry. Again, two things can be true at the same time. He can be a horrible person and still be a victim of a scam. I mean, two things can be, Now, that doesn't mean it's true. Kimora's version of the story is different. And to be fair, let me read you guys that I'm going to be fair. We do know that Kimora won a motion where Russell has to pay her legal fees. So the case is going in her favor. Hold on, let me pull that up and let me share that with you guys. The case is going in her favor, it sounds like. All right, I thought I had the article bookmarked. Let me pull it up real quick. Hold on. My bad, y'all. I thought I had that. I have another article bookmark. I thought I had the article. Okay, so let me just read you guys this one real quick. Now, this is from November 22nd of 2022. Russell Simmons is ordered to pay Kimora Lee Simmons over $100,000, concluding year-long bitter court battle. The ongoing court battle between former couple Russell Simmons and Kimora Lee has finally come to an end, leaving... Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it did. Hold on. Let me rewind. I guess this was resolved. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Maybe it was resolved. Let me read it. Hold on. Let me finish reading it. Leaving the Def Jam co-founder on the hook for over $100,000. According to Radar Online, the pair recently appeared in Superior Court where the judge granted a motion for payment of attorney fees brought by Lee. In court documents, Simmons has been ordered to pay $83,000 in legal fees and an additional $35,000 to cover the costs his ex-wife spent preparing her motion. The total owed amounts to $100,000. The judgment results from Lee filing a countersuit against Simmons in July after he sued her and her estranged husband. Child, will they stop calling that man her husband? Anyway, in October 2021, Simmons accused Lee and Lesnar, her investment banker ex, of stealing stock he owned without permission. Simmons claimed to work with Lee and Lesnar on a company, the New Horizons company owned, blah, 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 blah. I just told y'all all that. As the New York Times reported, to avoid prison time, blah, blah, blah. Simmons believes Lesnar's desperation to avoid jail time and the maximum amount of restitution owed was the motive behind the theft. However, the then couple denied misuse of shares. Lee's lawyer provided a statement at the time of defendants' use the associate shares for the purposes of the bond in connection with the federal case. Lee understood and believed that defendants were authorized to use the shares for bond. Okay, so Lee understood and believed that defendants were authorized to use the shares. The shares were being held by the government at the time of the original lawsuit. Simmons also filed a breach of contract claim against Lee. However, because Lee could prove that Simmons sold off his part of the shares before she attempted to use hers for Lesnar's bond, she was not in breach. The claim was dismissed, and Lee is now recovering a legal fee. She accused. Well, it looks like let me apologize. It looks like the case has been resolved. Hold on, y'all. It looks like the case has been resolved. But I don't think the case is resolved. Let me double check myself on that. I feel like this part has been resolved, but I don't feel like the case is resolved. I don't know. From my understanding, the case is not resolved, but I'll double check myself. Let me see. Listen to it. Hold on. Listen to what? What am I listening to? Hold on. Let me scroll back up. Girl Speak said, listen to it. Hold on. He got. He did. I'm sorry. That's not funny. Oh, not payback is the itch. He took her youth. Well, let me see here. I'm going to double check that, y'all. I don't think the whole case, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it is resolved. Maybe I misunderstood. I didn't think it was resolved, but I could be resolved. I mean, I could be misunderstood. Yeah, that's what I think, little baby. I don't think the whole case is resolved. I think there's a part of the case that may have been resolved. Because let me tell you something. There's no way in the world that a case this layered and this complicated only costs her $100,000 in legal fees. Let's just call a thing a thing. For this type of a case, $100,000 in legal fees ain't ish. That ain't ish. Kimora said the case has been resolved, but Russell still is pursuing it. Maybe it has been resolved. I'm gonna double check. Y'all know, I wanted. That's why I wanted to pull the actual case and see. But it may have been resolved. So if it's been resolved, I would definitely. Y'all know I don't have no problem correcting myself. According to that article, and that article was in 2022. So according to that article, the case was resolved. But $100,000 in legal fees, I'm telling y'all now, that ain't ish. That's nothing. That's nothing. When it comes to these types of cases, as complicated as that was. So I don't know. But I will say this. Right. Cardi B had $1 million in legal fees. But let me say this. Even if it's resolved, my point is the same. He believes they stole his money. That don't mean it's true. I mean, that's what he believes. But I'm definitely going to get more information. But that is what I was able to find. Because it's only been a short amount of time. To be clear, pursuing it in the courts, she's definitely shady, and Russell's allegations are working in her favor. Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, two things can be true at the same time. Let's be clear. I ain't here defending Russell Simmons. I want to be very clear about that. When it comes to those allegations, I am not here defending Russell Simmons. And I do think that it's a whole eek move for him to not make himself available to resolve and answer to the accusations. Let's be very clear. And I'm saying full stop. Full stop. We know that the state of California does not have statute of limitations on sexual assault. So he absolutely could face legal issues at the very least. Civil case. Okay, we know that to be true. We talked about that as it relates to the Menendez brothers situation. When we did the documentary on Bill Cosby, I talked about the fact that the laws have changed in the state of California. There is no statute of limitations. So he absolutely, okay? All right, so let's be clear on that. I want to be very clear, full stop. Okay? But I do think some funny money happened. Because let's be clear, the man is a crook. He is a convicted felon. And he has been convicted of scamming and scamming people out of their money. Why would we think that Russell is exempt to that? That is what the man is literally sitting in jail for right now. He is literally in jail because he stole people's money. I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly, Cassandra. We ain't taking no sides over here, honey. You know, so I am going to keep looking though, you guys. And again, so let me resolve at this point to say, according to that article I just read, and that was from Yahoo, the case has been resolved. My opinion, and y'all know I don't have nobody's law degree. Y'all know where I got my law degree from. Law and Order by way of Matlock University. I know where I got my law degree from. But just based on deductive reasoning, common sense, and what I know about legal cases, this just seemed very layered for the whole thing to have been resolved. But again, that's just, I don't know. That's just my opinion. Okay. Do you know how crooked you are to con a country? Listen, we got Bali, we got Qatar, we got the United States. Listen, it's a lot going on. Thank you, Girl Speak. Thank you, you guys. They all sound like they're guilty of a few things. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't think none of them have clean hands. Let's be clear. None of them have clean hands. And I'm not saying that Russell Simmons is daddy of the year. I'm not saying, like I said, me and Ebby were talking about this yesterday. Y'all know I'm a connoisseur of hip hop. I've followed hip hop my whole life. I grew up on hip hop. I am a child of the hip hop era. I was there. I guess I was there in the beginning, but I was there early on. I have known of Russell Simmons my whole life. I have seen multiple interviews, whether it was Arsenio Hall or Oprah Winfrey or, just wherever. He has written books. I've seen him on television shows. I've seen him, he has done all of these things. I have seen Russell Simmons for the last 30, 40 years of my life. And I've always felt like that Russell Simmons is an ass. He just comes off, he has got that whole New York, brash, rough. I can say what I want to say because I'm rich. I don't care about your feelings because I'm rich. Do you know who the F I am? He's always come off as that person. To me. When Kimora had her reality show back in the day, if y'all don't know, Kimora, and they had a reality show back in the day when she had baby fat, and you saw her running her company and him running his companies, and he's always been an asshole to me. You know what I mean? So I don't know that man. I ain't got no dog in this fight, and I ain't defending nothing. Do I think? I said it before. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Where there's smoke, I'm just leave it at that. Well, Cassandra said they have both reaped what they sowed. Karma is a you know what? All right, so meet me back here at 2:00, you guys. Thank y'all for being here. You forgot about that, Pam? Yeah, I forgot about it too until I started refreshing my memory. I need Pam to help me with this one. Me and Pam, I'm gonna have to pay her for her time. Pam expensive, y'all. I'm gonna have to pay her for her time, but I'm gonna have to get Pam to help me out. We're gonna have to pull this case, and I'm gonna have to see the ins and the outs, because what I've told you guys is my understanding of what Russell Simmons is accusing. I don't have the response. And I don't have it sounds like the case has been resolved. So I'm going to try to get the actual legal documents and read through them. And I'm going to have to pay Pam for her time and help me understand it, So while Russ, right, sounded like, you said sound like Sylvester the Cat, child. Hold on, y'all. Hello? Oh, shoot, it is noon. Okay, give me a quick second. Well, just don't they have a vanilla something? What do they have Oh, hey, don't they have a vanilla something vanilla? Oh, I thought they had ices or something. They don't have ices. Let me do that. Do they have vanilla and like banana or something? Vanilla and like banana or something? Okay. Let me get either vanilla and banana or vanilla and pineapple. Please and thank you. Small. All right. Thank you. Bye bye. Sorry, y'all. For my nephew. Oh, who just sent me some money? Oh, hold on. Praise him. Who just sent me some money? Hold on, y'all. Thank you. Thank you for the cash app. I was like, somebody just sent me some money. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know my nephew graduating today, so we having pizza and Rita's, and I forgot to give my mama my Rita's order, child. I ain't had Rita. Y'all have Rita's where y'all all the Rita's. They got the icy and the custard and all that. Child, I ain't been to Rita's in so long. Anyway, so I'm gonna vanilla and pineapple is a good move. Okay, thank you, Shelly. Okay, thank you. So we'll be back at 2:00 with Girl Is That Legal, Simone Redwine, and we are gonna be talking about Jocelyn Hernandez and her fight night. Y'all know she was arrested, but I bet y'all don't know why. Remember Funky Dineva said that he talked to his friend, aka Melissa, who told him that that Jocelyn got into a situation after the fight, and that's why she was being arrested. We got the breakdown. We got the arrest. We have the arrest report, and we have the breakdown, and we're gonna talk about it at 2:00 with Girl Is That Legal. And then later on tonight, child, after I go and hang out with the family and we celebrate my little nephew's graduation, child, he 5, he graduated from kindergarten, but don't play with him, okay? He graduated from kindergarten. When I come back later on tonight, I will give you guys my opinion. I will give you guys my opinion on the Simone Rashid breakup from the couple from Ready to Love. I have talked to Simone. We saw Rashid's video. I had not spoken on it because honestly, I wanted to talk to Simone first. So I've talked to Simone. I have her permission to share. And so I will be back later on tonight and we will talk about all of that. Okay. I will talk to y'all later. Let me get off of here so I can take care of some things before I gotta get ready to because when I get done with the video for Simone, I gotta like walk out the door. Okay. Matter of fact, that might be what I do now because I need to get some balloons and stuff. I may run out and do that now. And then, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go get his balloons and stuff now. All right, y'all. I will talk to y'all later. Peace. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, child, hit that subscribe button. What you waiting for? Bye, y'all.